Hey guys, you're watching the one and only. My name is AJ, and welcome back to another time lapse. When you think about it, a Minecraft world is an incredibly dangerous place. As soon as you spawn in, you only have a few minutes to find a safe place to stay the night. Once night comes, it's basically the apocalypse. Everything alive just wants to ruin your day. It happens every single night. Sure, you can secure your base and make it a little bit safer, but you've got to worry about the pockets of lava, falling gravel, hitting the ground too hard, travelling to a different dimension specifically designed to not only kill you, but to destroy everything that you own at the same time. There's even a setting you can turn on that gives you only a single life. If you die, that's it. Let's bring a little bit of serenity to the game, somewhere safe and calm where we can forget about how dangerous the game really is. Well, building in this style, in this theme, is not something that I've done before, but you know what? I really enjoyed it. Having so much freedom over what blocks and what colours to use was really refreshing. Normally, ordinarily, when you're doing something in Minecraft, you usually use a lot of wood and a lot of stone, and then you add in a little bit of colour afterwards just to make it pop and make certain parts stand out. With this fantasy style, you almost do it the opposite way. You use only colours and only bright blocks, and then you might put a little bit of wood, maybe a little bit of stone in here and there, just to ground the build again and not make it look too over the top. I also had to bear in mind the size of our village. I didn't want a giant sprawling fairy city that stretched for miles. I wanted a very small, secluded village hidden away from the rest of the world. Somewhere so tranquil and secluded that if you did end up discovering this little village, all of the residents would scurry into their houses and lock their door and pray that you don't burn and pillage the entire area. Which I think I am the biggest culprit for whenever I come across a normal village in Minecraft. I take the lot. So the layout of the village centres around the mushroom hut on the right. It's a bit of a meeting place, a bit of a watering hole for the fairies to be able to enjoy a cold glass of nectar late in the evening. And then all of the residents live in what is basically the same house, but with a different coloured roof on there. I imagine that the pink fairy would only wear pink and lives in the pink house, and the blue fairy only ever wears blue. And you could differentiate all of the fairies purely by what they wear and where they live. I think my favourite part of the entire build though are these small mushrooms that I built and filled in the surrounding areas with. They've all got glowstone inside them, so each one at night time lights up a little area. It has a little bit of a magical feeling to it, and they're really easy to make, guys. Anybody can do this. I added a couple, I think 3 total giant plants in here as well. I didn't want to make the place feel overwhelmed. I mean, I didn't want to have so much going on that you couldn't see the sky anymore when you're walking through it. These fairies, I'm assuming again, can fly. They're fairies, so you don't want to have nowhere for the fairies to be able to fly away. You want them to be able to get access to their own village relatively easily. If I could only give you one tip to take away from this video, it would be, if you're building a small village such as this, to have elevation changes in it. Don't have it all built on the same level. Have staircases that just gently drop down or up and incline to different areas. It'll make it so much more interesting when you're walking around it, rather than having everything on your eye line. At this point, I was very happy with how the village was looking, but I knew something was missing, a key component to the final look of our scene. So I decided to go with a hot air balloon just tied to the fountain below. Why fairies would be interested in hot air balloons, I don't know, they have wings. But a colourful, small fairy hot air balloon just floating above the middle of the village, I think, was a perfect touch. And I moved on to doing the interior to the little meeting place, the little social gathering area. We've got a little sort of bar at the back, and then some stools and some tables on the left and right. There's somewhere to gather in the evenings. To create this mound and hill just on the outskirts of the village, I'm using the same technique as I spoke about during the Ice Castle time-lapse. So the first step to my technique is to place down some legs. This gives you an idea of how much area the hill is going to cover, as well as a pretty decent idea of the overall scale. And once you've got those in, you can start to fill the areas between the legs. I randomly place blocks until there's no gaps left. It might not look perfect at this stage, but once you've gone round and filled in all of the holes, you can then go back and perfect it and smooth any jagged, square or rough edges. Then once you're happy, you can place grass on top of each stone block, and it gives a half and half blend of vanilla looking generation and custom generation. I think it's a really nice balance. And yes, I built this just so I could have a waterfall coming out of somewhere. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. In the description below is a world download link if you want to check it out for yourself and have a wander around. Also in the description, I've linked Optifine, the shader pack that I used, and the texture pack that I used if you wanted to completely replicate what you saw today. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye!